Pins and Needles podcast. My name is Zoe. You can find me everywhere on Ravelry and Instagram as Pins and Needles UK. And if you check the drop down box underneath this vlog, you will find links to all of my places. So my newsletter, my Ravelry group, you will find links to the Knit Tea retreat that I run with Jennie of All About Yarn, and Cartref Yarn as well, which is our exclusive range of Welsh yarn. You'll find a link to my coffee account, and you'll also find timestamps. So if you want to skip around to various sections, that is all linked down below. How are you all doing? I've actually managed, I think possibly for the first time this year, to get a proper 2-week schedule going with my podcast. So I'm quite pleased with myself about that. Although the whole lockdown situation is far from ideal, I do find I have rather more spare time. So it's, it's not all bad news. I wanted to start by saying a huge thank you to everybody that has sent me a coffee donation. I've been blown away by your generosity, and I'm going to look into buying a proper tripod for filming the podcast on. I have like a selfie stick where the bottom opens out, which is fine for inside, but when I'm out and about outside taking you places and I want to film something steady, the wind hits the back of my camera on my selfie stick one, so I need something a bit sturdier. Anyway, so thank you very much. I will show you that when I've ordered it and it has arrived. I don't know if you can see, there's just a little bit of Jim the dog's bottom down there. And I'm sat in front of the fireplace in what was the dining room and is now our home gym. And if there's any sploshing coming through on the microphone, Jocelyn has just made rock buns and is being very good and tidying up afterwards. Right, let's crack on with it, shall we? First up is my finished object, and I am absolutely thrilled with this. I finished my Mount Pleasant tee. Now this is a pattern by, I wrote it down, Megan Nodecker, and I knit this out of a yarn by my friend Carolien, who is Colourful Creativity, and I've left a link to her website down below. And the yarn is called Pinkies Up, and it was the first official Knit Tea Retreat colourway back from 2018. And I bought 2 skeins of it, and I wanted to, well, I bought 2 skeins, one for me and one for Jennie. And when I went to give Jennie hers, she'd already bought one, so I kept both. And I've been on the lookout for the perfect pattern to use for it ever since. And I saw that Angela of the Yarn and Yarns podcast had knit herself this pattern, and basically I was jealous. Okay, so here is the yarn. I had 2 full skeins and I've got 34 grams left over, and that's with adding 3 inches extra length onto it. It's supposed to be a cropped top, cropped tee. I didn't want it very cropped, and I'm taller than most people at 6'1", so I did want to add a bit more length to it. So yeah, there's Carolien's lovely label, and yeah, it's a superwash merino, 75-25 merino nylon yarn. I think she does have a couple of skeins left of this in the shop, but once it's gone, it's gone. But I'm pleased I've got some little leftovers. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They might be funky contrast toes in some socks at some point. Okay. And there it is. Just have a quick wriggle of my trousers because you don't actually want to see my stomach. So there you go. It's knit in the round up to the armpits. You separate the front and back, but there's not separate sleeves. You just increase for the shoulder cap. You join it with a 3 needle bind off at the top, which is nice and secure and also tidy. And then you just pick up and do a little bit of rib to finish off the cuffs. And the bottom has this very simple lace pattern. And yeah, so the top of my jeans sits there. So I've got about 1.5 inches of overlap, which is perfect. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. And to get it out of 2 skeins, I think is lovely, because a lot of us have a couple of precious skeins that we're not too sure what we want to do with. So I can highly recommend this pattern. Which size did I knit? I can't remember, but it's all in my project pages on Ravelry, so do head out and have a look at that. So yeah, really, really pleased with it, and there's definitely enough space in it that I could wear a long sleeve t-shirt underneath, just to get more wear out of it in the seasons, and certainly I could put a vest on underneath, just if I wanted a bit more warmth. So I'm really pleased with it. It's beautifully soft yarn, and I absolutely love the colour. And because of how, obviously these are reskein, but you can see that there's speckly bits and bright pink bits and purpley bits, and it was just such a pleasure to knit with the yarn and watch the different colours appear on my needles, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I think it's a really good match for the pattern as well. So that is my Mount Pleasant tea. Thrilled with it. Next up, works in progress. No new cast-ons, I'm afraid. I was desperately trying to get this finished for today. I finished it Thursday night late, and I got it early on Friday morning and got it soaked and blocked and pinned out, and it was just dry by last night, so I made it in time to show you on the podcast. Next up are my dad's socks. You must be bored of looking at these by now. It's the Crunkled socks by K.F. Jones of the Bakery Bears. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And I have finished the first sock. Look at that. The last podcast, I think, what did I show you on the podcast last time? I was umming and ahhing about the contrast toe. I definitely needed contrast yarn for the toe because having knit as far as the end of the foot, I weighed the remaining yarn and I only had 48 grams left. My dad has big feet, and this is a knit and purl pattern, which does rather eat up the yarn. So I had a rummage through my minis, which was one of the daily vlogs that I filmed, and I came up with a few possibilities, and in the end I went with something else. I went with this lovely sort of corally peachy colour. It's not quite the same as the pink in the sock, but it's near as damn it. And I designed a pair of socks called the Party Bunting socks for the Knit Tea retreat, and it came as a kit with some yarn, and everyone got a 20 gram mini of this corally pink colour, and we had quite a few left over, so I snaffled one of these for my dad's contrast toes. I'm sure he will be man enough to wear socks with pink toes, and I've made reasonable progress on the second one actually. Hang on a sec, I'm getting tangled. There we go. So I finished the leg, and I'm about halfway through the heel flap. Yeah, chugging along nicely on these. And usually with socks, once you're through the heel flap and turn and the gusset, you think, well, I'm almost done. Not so with my father's socks, UK size 11 feet. So I still have over halfway to go on this sock. But it's a nice, simple pattern, easy to memorise, and perfect to just pick up and knit here and there. I had to go and meet Jennie in a car park earlier this week. We're getting ready for a big Cartref Yarn update at the end of this month online, and we managed to get most of the dyeing done before the lockdown happened. And Jennie took all the dyeing equipment home and all the yarn to dye that was left, which wasn't very much. So I just sent her home with what we thought we would need to her to finish off. And it turns out we've sold some of that already and we need to dye some more. So I had to meet her in the car park at Costco and put a big bag of undyed yarn in the middle of the car park and then step back. And then she picked it up and put it in her car. But the point is, I got there about 20 minutes early just to give myself a bit of quiet time. So I had a good blast of knitting on those socks. And I've been picking them up here and there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those finished because I have my eye on another sock pattern. I might show you that next time if I get round to it. I'd like to have finished these by the next time we chat because it's Father's Day, June? Is it in June? So you can have Father's Day socks. Next work in progress, brace yourselves. I have opinions on this next work in progress. I've been knitting the Little Waves cardigan by Gudrun Johnston for Brooklyn Tweed for a while, about a month now. And my original goal was to have it finished in time to wear to Wonderwool. Wonderwool is the main wool show in Wales. It takes place at the end of April every year. And Jennie and I were going to have a stand. It was going to be half Jennie's Owl About yarn and then half of our Cartref yarn. But obviously it's been cancelled, quite understandably. So we decided we'd go ahead with an online update that same weekend. Don't quote me on it. I want to say it's the 25th and 6th, or it might be the 26th and 27th of April. But if you subscribe to the newsletter for Cartref and you follow us on social media, you won't miss it. So I was casting this jumper on, this cardigan on, and my goal was to have it finished so that I could wear it at Wonderwool and we could have a garment made up and it would all look fabulous. Since the last time we spoke, I have finished the sleeves. Here's one. The second one is attached to the nightmare that is my cardigan. I'll show you that in a minute. Now I had a bit of a issue with these sleeves. I cast the sleeves on according to the pattern and they were huge, like hilariously, enormously huge already at my cuff. I knit the cuff and like 14 rows of stocking stitch and it was already 2 inches of positive ease and I still had 20 increases to go. It was going to be vast. I jumped online onto Ravelry and checked out the project notes and everybody said the sleeves were huge. And to be fair, if you look at the pattern photographs, they are supposed to be. It's supposed to be an oversized, super comfy cardigan, but I really didn't want anything that enormous. I was a bit reluctant to just alter the stitch count. It would have been no problem just to calculate the size I wanted and knit it. But this is you join everything together at the yoke and it's a saddle shoulder construction, which I've never done before, so I was a bit reluctant to mess with the numbers. So I cast on a needle size down. I'm knitting the body, I knitted on 4.5 mil. The sleeves I went down to a 4 mil, and they are fine. So I've got a bit of positive ease down here. I've got a small amount up here, and I can certainly block a bit more out of it when I get to that point. So yeah, I cast on just on smaller needles and I knitted to about a third of the way through these garter faux elbow patches. Now, admittedly, my row tension was going to be different to the pattern because I was using smaller needles, but even allowing for that, the elbow patches weren't anywhere near my elbows. They were sort of here. So the whole elbow patch would sit there on my forearm rather than across my elbow. So I ripped it out again, and using my new row gauge, I calculated when I wanted to start the elbow patch. And once I'd done that, it was no problem. But the first sleeve, I think I knit the bottom third about 3 or 4 times, which was a bit frustrating. But they're finished and it's not a problem. So now I'm at the point where I need to join it all together, and I sat down this morning early thinking, well, I'll try and get at least a couple of rows done and everything joined so I can show you guys when I record. And I checked all my stitch counts before I started, so I know that my stitch counts are correct for having finished the body stitch count is correct, the sleeves are correct, I double checked everything. And when you, as I'm sure you know, when you join this all together in the round, you knit across the front, the right front, and then you attach you knit the sleeve on, then you put some stitches aside for the underarm, knit across the back, attach the next sleeve, put some more stitches on hold for the underarm, knit across the right front. Fine. So this first bit went fine, and I had the correct number of stitches then to knit across the back, no problem. And I had, the trouble was that when I attached the left sleeve, it was attaching differently to the right sleeve. It's probably easier if I show you, but it is a bit of a tangled mess, and I'm part way through a row, and I'm just cross with it. Okie dokie. So this is what I've got. So right front, right sleeve is attached, knit across the back, and where I've stopped is here. So I've knit across the back, and then this bit is the left front, and it's got this garter panel down the side. It comes down the side here. And if I compare, this is the wrong side now, here's the same garter panel, and if I compare where this sits along with putting stitches on hold for the underarm, it's not going to be the same on this side. So one or the other is wrong. But I've counted my stitches and I have the right number of stitches. And it matters because I will be using up a different number of stitches when I go into the final front. And I don't know how that's going to work out. So what I need to do is check for errata on the pattern page, go back into people's notes and try and work it out. Yeah. And obviously then when I get that sorted and I have to start decreasing sleeve stitches and front and back stitches all at different rates whilst keeping the pattern in line, but this in stocking stitch, there's just going to be an awful lot going on. So I need to double check everything before I get any further. And if all else fails, I'll just make it up as I go along. I'll just keep the increase rates correct and just work it into the pattern as I go. But I do want to get the setup as correct as I can before I get any further, because otherwise it's going to be a massive pain in the neck to rip back. I did take the precaution of putting waste yarn in. You need to see the little line of blue in there. So I've put all of the body stitches on, I put a lifeline in. And I did a lifeline for the sleeves as well. So if I do just need to rip it all back, at least everything's secured on the yarn. And I've got teeny tiny party ring progress keepers. These were a present from Jennie. And again, they're from Chapel View Crafts, who's based up in Merthyr. And I need to use lobster claw ones because according to the pattern, I need to move these up my knitting as I go. It's all sounding quite complicated. So that's where I am. I'm at the stage of almost shoving it back in the bag again. And when things like this happen to me with my knitting, I usually shove it in a bag and I wait until I see Jennie again. And then I talk her through it, and either I work it out in that process or she'll take it all off me and double check and find out what my problem is. But social distancing means no Jennie, which is very sad. What are we, 18th? Maybe the 18th, maybe the 19th of April. And my self-imposed deadline was I'm gonna have to look it up. Why can't I remember when the Wonderful Festival should have been? Oh, yeah, no. I've got a week basically. Saturday the 25th was my original deadline for getting this done, which gives me a week to knit the yoke with all of this craziness. And then I had to pick up and do a massive garter stitch shawl collar. So the chances of me getting this finished are pretty slim. But if I can at least get the decreases started, it will be a bit easier to show people. We're planning on doing a live, I'm not sure if it's going to be an Instagram live or a YouTube live on this channel, but we're planning on doing a live to show everybody the new and exciting Cartref Yarn things we've got, and holding stuff up. So I would really like to have like a finished garment as a sample to show people, but maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I'll just stop sleeping and just power through the knitting. We'll see. Next up is acquisitions, which is a little bit of a larger section than I was expecting. First up, I'll show you the two things that I bought myself. I don't know if any of you knew and took advantage, but Bluprint, B-L-U-P-R-I-N-T, Bluprint, the online craft courses website, very generously made all of their classes free up until a few days ago. I think it was about 2 weeks worth, just as part of the, you know, coronavirus, being kind, giving people things to do thing. And there's a spinning class on there I've been meaning to buy for ages. It's by Jacey, Boggs, Faulkner, and it's called From Worsted to Woollen. I've typed out the details of it down below, and I've heard really good things about it. And it's exactly what it sounds like. So she shows you how to spin a spectrum of yarns, from classic worsted spinning at one end to classic woolen long draw at the other, and how you can sort of inch your way along through the process. And learning to spin long draw is one of my goals. So I had a look at this free class. I've watched it through a couple of times now. And originally I was going to jump straight to trying long draw, but having watched this class and seen how carefully she transitions you from one end to the other, I've decided I'll just follow along with her classes. And she starts with short forward draw, which is what I do, and then she does short backward draw from the fold, and then she moves on to woolen prep fibre, the previous ones being worsted prep. Anyway, the point is, all I've got is top. I've only got combed top fibre in my stash, which is where all of the fibres are aligned, going in the same direction and the same length. And for the last half of her spinning class, you need a carded prep fibre, and that's where, rather than all running parallel to each other, the fibres are all jumbled up, and you get different lengths of fibre in there. So I treated myself, and first of all, from Wingham Woolwork, I ordered 100 grams of, what did I order 100 grams of? Autumn Mist, which is Autumn Mist Blend. So 100 grams for £5, and it's 80% mixed merino and 20% white silk. And basically, I just love the colours. And Angela, if you're watching, how much do you want this? Think how beautiful this would be. So this one is like a big old strip. Can you see? And you can definitely see the white bits of the silk, and it's a gorgeous orangey gold with bits of yellow in it. And this has been carded, so you get like a sheet of it. Often, if you see them at yarn shows, they'll be rolled up into a bat like this, but this just came in a big old sheet which they shoved in a bag. And you just rip a chunk off in a strip, or you can spin along the top. So yeah, so that was the first thing I bought to practice on. And I also bought from World of Wool, again the website's listed down below, a Galaxy Melange mixed bag. So a pack like this, and this is 250 grams, which cost me £8.50, and it's carded sliver. It's Corriedale with a 29 to 30 micron cap, so it's still nice and soft. So if you remember, the first one was a big old sheet of fibre, and this one, you get these pleasing little nuggets, but it comes in a strip like this. So if you're used to buying dyed top, like a lot of the indie dyes, you buy like a braid of fibre, you'll be familiar with the strip. The difference is in the preparation of the fibre. So this is still all the fibres all jumbled up, all different lengths together. And so yeah, these come in pleasing little nuggets like that. They just tuck the end in, and I get a really nice selection of colours in there. And they achieve this sort of heathered darker colour by using a mix of dyed and black fibre. And this is part of their standard stock. It's nothing special, so if anyone's keen, and it's the same for this one, these are all standard stock, so if you want some, you can order some. I haven't actually got as far as trying to spin in any of these new styles yet. I've been going like, I got totally sucked into trying to finish this Mount Pleasant tea. And also, I'm a bit reluctant to start because I hate wasting things, particularly fibre. And once you've spun fibre up, there's not much you can do to rescue it if you make a pig's ear of it. So I'm a little bit nervous about getting going. It's such lovely, although it wasn't expensive fibre. Yeah, I'm trying to be a bit tighter with my spending, obviously, at the moment, and I really don't want to waste it, but I think I need to just do it. Just do it, Zoe. And the nice thing about these little nuggets was each one I could spin up as each one of her lessons. So one can be short forward draw, the next nugget can be short backward draw, the next one can be from the fold. Do you see what I mean? It'll work quite nicely. So I think maybe I just need to bite the bullet and do it. Next up, I would like to introduce to you Gnnerys, the Cartref Yarn Stash Guardian. And please note the spelling of Gnnerys, which I will put on the screen down here. I love her. This is a pattern which is Here We Gnome Again by Schira of Imagined Landscapes. And this was knitted and sent to Jenny and I by Sali. Thank you so much, Sali. Sally's a friend of ours. She's been on the retreats. We know her through Ravelry, and she very kindly has bought some of our Cartref yarn in the past. And she knit her son a Spider-Man jumper. And from the leftovers, she knit Gnnerys. So Gnnerys is modelling a beautiful twisted stitch and cable hat in the sapphire colourway. Please also note that Gnnerys is a gnome of colour. Her nose and hands are knitted in glaw, and her beautiful, beautiful beard is in the Naturiol colourway, which is our undyed colourway. And she has a very pleasing spiral bottom. So this is Gnnerys, the stand gnome. So if we ever get to attend a yarn show again, come and find Gnnerys on our stand. And it's lovely to see the different things. You know, we've only done accessories and garments in it so far, so it's really nice to have something fun knit up in this yarn. So I was thrilled to get Gnnerys through the post. Thank you very much, Sally. What a treat. Oh, I think I've misaligned the beans in her stuffing. She's a bit wobbly bottomed. There we go, you sit there. Oh, and then next up, I received some lovely yarn in the post as a kind of a happy Easter / happy birthday present from Gudrun. Hello, beautiful lady. And she sent me a sock set. So these are from an independent dye I haven't heard of before called Bramble and Me. And this is 100 grams of superwash Blueface Leicester high twist 4-ply yarn. 100 grams gives you 365 metres, so a nice plump one. And the colourway Stormy Seas. That's showing up beautifully. It's like a grey blue, very gently tonal yarn. And it came with a mini in the same base called Kissing Gate. And it's the most barely there sort of blush pink colourway. So soft, but with the high twist, you could knit socks out of it if you like. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. I think it might just be for squishing at the moment. Oh, and just for a laugh, in the package, I also got a packet of loo roll. You can actually buy loo roll fairly easily now in the UK, but this is wonderful stuff. It's from a company called Who Gives a Crap, and this is an online toilet paper company. Again, I've left their details down below. And apart from the fact that it all comes in paper and cardboard, there's no plastic whatsoever. I think it's recycled, made without trees. whogivesacrap.org. And yeah, the company donates 50% of their profits to build sanitary facilities in the developing world. So that made me laugh. I've been saving it to show you. Now I can put it into use. And then last but not least, I received a very lovely letter from Lee of the Luli podcast. You're back podcasting. I'm so pleased to see you back on YouTube, and it was really kind of you to write to me. Thank you so much. I am going to write back, but I haven't got any stamps. So the next time I am going out for food or whatever, I will track down some stamps and I will write back to you. So that was very kind to receive that. Thank you very much indeed. And I think that's kind of everything for today. In terms of what I've been up to, I mean, if you've been watching my daily vlogs, you'll know, good Lord, I've done so much filming. I've been vlogging 6 days a week for my channel, and obviously with the gym being shut still, Dave and I have been filming lots of workouts and putting those up online. We've also been filming a series called Quarantine Cuisine, a recipe for disaster. And it's just been me filming Dave cooking various dishes, just to give the gym members a bit more company, some ideas of what to eat. It's not particularly focused on healthy eating, it's literally just what we're eating for dinner. But we've done katsu curry, we've done a roast lamb dinner, lentil and bacon soup, and people are quite enjoying those. So if you fancy, you know, watching a bit of a home workout or trying a new recipe, there's a link down below to the Dave's Gym YouTube channel. Although it's not called Dave's Gym, it's Dave of Dave's Gym, I think. Anyway, the point is the link is down below. So if you fancy a home workout with me and Dave, or if you want to watch some cookery, there's that as well. You can see by the bunting we've had a birthday. Conrad had his 16th birthday, 15th of April. And I think he had a nice day. It was a shame he couldn't spend it with his friends or his girlfriend, and he's missing them very much. But I made him chocolate fudge cake and proper custard. And he arranged to meet his friends online, and they all played online Monopoly. So that was good fun. And Conrad's been working for us at the gym. He's been our Friday night receptionist for months and months and months. And he's been saving up his wages for about 9 months to buy himself a new electric guitar. And the deal was he'd save his wages, and then Dave and I would contribute some money as a birthday present to top it up. And he finally had enough money. We gave him the extra to make it up, and he ordered his guitar online 2 weeks before his birthday. So during lockdown, 2 weeks in advance to make sure it was here in time. And through no fault of the company we bought it from, it was just a catalogue of damaged guitar, basically. It turned up and the frets were discoloured and not very smooth. And this is a £500 guitar, so that wasn't on. So he got back in touch with them. The delivery man came back to pick it up, and by the time it got back to the guitar tech to be fixed, the delivery guys had knocked a massive hole in the back of the body. And then they didn't have another replacement guitar in the same colourway, so then we had to choose. It was just a disaster from start to finish. But on the afternoon of his birthday, the delivery driver turned up with his replacement guitar, with which he's very happy. And if I remember, I'll put a little picture of him up here with his guitar. So that ended well in the end. Although the kids have had school from home, we're currently in the Easter holidays. I think they go back officially on Monday, so we'll get back to some sort of level of schoolwork for them. Yeah, I've been busy doing Cartref Yarn stuff. I've been stock taking and putting the ball bands and the sticky labels on the skeins. That was a bit of an IT saga yesterday. I was at the point of tearing my hair out, but I got there. Got a bit more of that to be getting on with. Yeah, lots of cleaning and sorting of the house, just while the opportunity's there. I did want to ask your opinion on something. For a while, I've been meaning to film like a maker's mobility video, like an instructional, sorry, that's my laptop binging at me. Yeah, like a series of short, sort of 5-minute-ish episodes on mobility and posture and some very gentle exercises that knitters and other crafters can take part in. So either to something to do in the middle of a massive crafting binge, like if you're going to sit down all afternoon and craft, consider stopping every hour and just running through these few basic motions to keep you nimble. and also some very entry-level gentle exercises that will address things like round-shoulderedness, lower back pain, that sort of thing. Is that something you're interested in? I'm going to put a thread in my Ravelry group, which is listed down below. I'll put it up in a couple of days, I think, just setting out very broad strokes what I'm thinking of doing, and I would love some input from you guys. Either yes, please do it, or no, that's a shocking idea, or yes, I would particularly be interested in addressing lower back pain or elbow pain or shoulder mobility. I'd love your input on that. It would be a series of things that I would put up for free. You know, it wouldn't be paid for in any way. But what I've learned as part of this lockdown thing is I'm starting to get a bit of crossover between my viewers here and the Dave's Gym channel, and they're just starting to creep across and be like, oh, I could try a bodyweight workout with Zoe. That doesn't sound too scary. So yeah, would you be interested in some sort of crafters mobility thing? Let me know. Head over to the Ravelry group in a couple of days, and actually, I might just I'll just set the thread up before this goes live. There won't be much information there yet, just a little bit, but if you've got suggestions or comments or anything, I would really appreciate your input. Okay, that's it for today. Slight rummage from Jim the dog. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again for the coffee donations and all of the comments. I'm so behind with comments. I will try and catch up. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Bye. Oh, one last thing. There won't be a vlog on Monday. Vlogs will go back from Tuesday.